welcome to Who Put This On, Season 5, Episode 28, where we watch 12 Dates of Christmas, Season 1, Episode 1. I'm Chris Lorenz.
Hey, this is James.
This is Brian.
Robert Getz.
Noah Singer.
This is BJ.
I believe we have...
It's a late entrant. It's HBO Max.
Welcome. If this is your first time joining us, we watch a different reality show each week. We critique and come up into all the minutia. Man, I should be better at this by this point. Go into all the minutia of this particular episode to find out if the show is good or not. Rob, why don't you give us the description for the show we watched this week?
On a mission to meet that special someone to bring home for the holidays, three hopelessly romantic singles, our leads, arrive at an Austrian castle for a fast-paced journey of festive dates, from ugly sweater parties to après-ski activities that send temperatures soaring. But, as in all great rom-coms, their paths to love won't be easy. Just as our leads make connections, new love interests arrive, adding plenty of twists, turns, and hopefully holiday cheer. Along the way, they face regular elimination ceremonies, complicated blasts from the past, and no shortage of conflicting emotions. After bringing someone home for the holidays, they must decide whether to commit or walk away forever by the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. The incomparable Natasha Rothwell narrates that the 12 Dates of Christmas on HBO Max, I believe our first HBO Max show.
Exciting stuff.
Just in time for HBO Max to join us.
Where do we want to start? Because there's something in that description I really want to pick on.
Let's just go.
For
it. All right.
Go Max. Just go ahead.
Okay. They end it by saying that the narrator is incomparable, and I highly disagree with that description. We'll come back to it.
We'll come back to that.
She's very comparable.
Let's go over what happens in the specific episode, so then we'll get into the minutia, including our lovely host. So it starts with going to Austria, what they call the mansion, and they introduce three main contestants. I'm going to call them.
They're leads.
The leads, Chris. The leads.
Oh, sorry.
Castle
Cad,
lead.
Faith, and somebody else.
Garrett.
Garrett. Yeah, there he is. They get to know each other for a bit. Then they have date number 1, which was dinner, where their waiters were their dates. Very awkward.
Well, that was a surprise. You can't. That's like an important
It seemed
detail.
that awkward.
It wasn't like, hey, you're going on a date with your waiter. It's like, oh,
That's
surprise.
what it was, James.
Okay.
Hold on, we're not getting into the menu. We'll get back to that.
That's an important thing. You can't just leave it out.
Oh, then they
Their
spend the
waiters were not their
day.
dates. Their dates just served them food. That's all that happened.
Okay. Their dates serve them food. Okay, moving on. They spend the next day with their dates. Then they have date 2, which was a masquerade ball. 3 new people showed up. Real awkward because all of them ditched their dates, went with the new dates, and then the episode ended. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's it.
That was a good 50 minutes of my life right there.
Actually, it was a great 50 minutes of my life.
Yeah.
I'm on. I'll probably watch another episode tomorrow. Let me be honest. Right now.
What?
Tomorrow, you should just binge it all right now. There's 3 episodes out. You should just.
I don't know.
Only 3?
Oh,
How many episodes are there going to be? Are they doing like a weekly thing?
8 episodes.
8 episodes spread over. Okay, so are they going to do like a weekly up until Christmas?
New Year's. Didn't you listen to the show description?
Well, I mean, I get that was the idea. I didn't realize that was the show schedule.
Oh, I don't know. There's just 3 on right now.
Now, like they're talking about the goal of the show being somebody you can bring home to the family for Christmas. So why does it end on New Year's?
I didn't know that until Rob said in the show description it goes till New Year's Eve.
Because you turn into a pumpkin at midnight. Because it's the Cinderella story.
All right, Max. Let's get into this. Let's talk about this host of sorts.
Okay.
Of bad jokes.
So we watched a couple shows now where we never actually see the host. They are strictly a disembodied voice. And this host has the exact same je ne sais quoi as the host for The Circle and the host for Too Hot to Handle. And we were so convinced that it was the same person that we found an article that said we were right, and then it turns out that article was wrong.
Whoa. Really throwing around the we pretty unanimously there. Just going to throw out for the record that there was not a unanimous we on this train.
It was more than one person we.
Agree.
This also kind of has a reminiscence of the Floor's Lava show. Like it has the same like tone of like we're kind of making fun of them, but it's also just a bad joke. And I don't know who laughs at these, but maybe somebody does. I don't know.
Chris, I got news for you. This show might be the most self-aware show we've seen so far. This show knows exactly what it is, and it's just digging in on it. It's making fun of itself. It's cracking jokes along the way. I got to sum it up with it's just a self-aware show. It knows what it's doing.
I mean, it definitely says it's a rom-com. So, like, they know exactly what they're trying to do. Like, I get it. And that kind of makes it even more.
The jokes weren't that bad.
They weren't that great. She replaced she replaced every like what in the hell with like what in the Santa.
Yeah, but they're not supposed to be any better, right? Like they're trying to appeal to people like drinking a glass of wine, watching something super easy, not giving a fuck about things. Like it's not supposed to be Curb Your Enthusiasm. Only pay attention and pick up on the nuances of all the details.
No, it's so right. Like
exactly.
This is a feel good show, right? Like this is gonna warm you up in the winter, like cozy up on the couch and binge some of this.
Like if it's a feel good show, why is the narrator so snarky? Like I
disagree.
Because that's the fun. They're self-aware.
I disagree. The show is like the veneer of a feel good show, but the content is about cutthroat dating, like rapid fire dating, somebody making fun of the contestants on the show. Like that's not feel good.
I mean, it felt great. I don't know.
Yeah, they were getting made fun of because they were doing like well and like
I don't know.
Getting with
I wouldn't call it feel good at that point.
I mean, Chris is pretty consistent that if there's anyone making fun of people on a show, he hates the show. So,
well, I mean, if like the show was about making fun of them and they were funny, like, then sure. Just when you're making fun of people and it's not funny, then it's not a good show.
Do you just think it's not a good show, or do you think it's negative?
I don't think this show is overly negative, as Rob will point out that I don't like shows that are negative. Like, I, for some reason, can't come up with any off the top of my head, but I have been very consistent about that.
Got it.
Like, if the tone is very just like negative outlook, I don't particularly like it.
Just a quick side note: the 3 episodes came out like sometime last weekend. 3 episodes come out tomorrow, or some amount, and then the rest come out next Thursday. So like by December 10th, all the episodes will be out.
There you go. I know what Vabov's doing this weekend. Let's get into what do they call them? Not contestants.
Leads.
Let's get into some of these leads. Let's talk about the first lead we get introduced to, which is Faith. She's 25. She's a stylist. She's from Seattle. Woo! But now lives in LA.
Ooh.
Her intro was really, the intros for all the leads were pretty nuts. There were these like crazy rooms that were like solid, like very, very Christmassy kind of, but they were all solid colors. Hers was solid pink. Like everything was pink. It was disturbing.
I mean, it was beautifully decorated though. Like this thing was obviously a set made for TV. And so like, I feel like you got to give it a little bit of credibility here, Chris. Like this thing looked beautiful. Like this thing was stunningly produced.
The set designers on the show were amazing.
Right.
Like the budget for the sets and the clothing, so just off the charts. Like The budget was in the sets.
How much money is HBO blowing on this thing?
What?
HBO is making it rain money, right?
Oh yeah.
Like it's so evident.
The thing is, like, because it's a reality show, you don't have to pay the actors, so you have all that cash. Then you can send it on the sets, right? So like you have to pay the actors, like, but this like you're not paying, like, it's not like The Undoing, right? So The Undoing, like, it has like famous actors, you're paying them a shit ton of money, so you're saving that money, then you can spend it extra on the set. So like, you know, like, if you think
Or
about it,
you
that way,
could not spend it on
where
the
you spend
sets,
somewhere.
and it would just be cheaper.
Did this show make people bring their own wardrobes like The Bachelor Bachelorette does?
So I sent a link to one of the people on the show's Instagram. The clothes on the show were nothing like the clothes on Instagram.
Sorry, what does that mean? We're nothing like on Instagram.
It's not their clothing.
It's not their clothing.
It doesn't seem like it's their clothing. It doesn't even seem like their style, let alone their clothing.
Oh, really? Interesting.
But like, if I'm some rando who's now going on this dating show, am I gonna just wear my normal clothes, or am I gonna buy crazy clothes that I wouldn't normally wear?
But like, you also wouldn't put your normal clothes on your Instagram because all you're going onto the show for is to become Instagram famous. So you're really curating that as well.
That's a good point.
It's all curated.
Like, like, I agree with you that it doesn't mirror the real life, but the Instagram profile would mirror more the show you than the real you.
That's
I don't
fair.
know. I feel like with Rob that this is like people might would go on the show to be like the leads next year for some sort of Bachelorette universe, you know?
I think you have to make the universe first before you get people to do that.
Wait, do you think this is like a stepping stone to The Bachelor?
It could be. This could be a stepping stone to the challenge. Could be a feeder show, you know? You never know.
Could be.
Man.
Anything
I-
can happen.
You could
Like,
I mean like
you know, what are you saying? Like, yeah, obviously.
the
You're on TV. It's gonna be better than not being on TV.
I mean like the leads
Or it could be
for
worse. If you're terrible, see you later.
the leads for next season, I'm sure will be picked from this season. So like
What?
You know.
You're saying they wouldn't get dates? Come on.
I think it's just weird that HBO Max would even make this show, right? Like, Netflix kind of wrote the playbook of like, make content that is always going to be good, right? Don't make it too timely, and like they just go hard in the paint with this dating show that's going to be good once a year, and it's not going to be that good for next year because they're going to make all these references. Like, it just seems like I'm just surprised they didn't put this in their forefront.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I mean, so many other channels do not play by that playbook. They make, pumpkin cake challenge 2017.
Yeah, but it's a different business model, right? Like, on this, it's interesting they took that approach.
Yeah, but like, do any of these dating shows have like watchability down the line? Like, who's watching like The Bachelor from 2012? Is that a thing? Like, I don't know what people do. I assume you watch the current thing. Like, it's meant to be watching like kind of as it's happening, you know?
The Bachelor's a bad one because like sometimes people from past seasons will be on the recent seasons, so then people might go back and watch those, especially when you have Bachelor Nation.
I mean, I
Survivor
think we need to
people
get back to the show, but James,
Yeah.
to that point, like this summer, they like The Bachelor had a show where it's like, we're gonna go back to old seasons and blah. I don't fucking know what the show was, but it was like it was
Bachelor in Paradise.
no, it was like literally like some show where the host went over old seasons. It was weird.
Ugh,
Oh,
awful.
ugh.
We didn't do it for the pod, and I think that's probably better. We didn't.
If I want a recap show, I'll just go on YouTube.
So let's talk about Chad. Chad,
Oh boy.
he's 28, from Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania. He was in a blue room. He believes in true love. And he was heterosexual. Unlike Garrett, 29, real estate, New York City. He was a green room, and he was gay. So those are our three leads, and they were all quite attractive, as I would say.
I think you may have Chad mixed up because slight spoiler for anyone that's gonna watch this. Chad's kissed every one on the show, like all the women. Didn't he go on like 3 dates with women?
We've only
No, so
seen
Garrett
two.
is the one
I know Garrett. I thought it was Garrett and one of the people that came in later. Because like Garrett,
No,
it was one of the servers.
There's
Corey.
No. James.
Corey is who you're thinking about.
Chris said it correctly. Chris said.
Oh, am I mixing it up?
Yeah. Chris said it correctly.
Oh.
I have it written down, James. You have it written down?
One, right? Garrett's game one. That's what Chris said.
Okay, it might be. I'm mixing these up. The names like I found tricky.
One thing you mentioned, Chris, like you said, they are good looking, and they are good looking. I was kind of impressed they weren't like Bachelor level, like superstar good looking for TV standards. They were a bit normal, even though they're very good looking. I know that sounds weird, but like they weren't just like off the charts like models.
I don't know. I might be jaded, but I don't think many of the people on Bachelor anymore are too model-y.
Oh, really? I feel like every time I put The Bachelor on, it's like
the main person is usually supermodel like, but the other people vying for their love, I don't feel are like that.
Can we talk now about how these three people feel like such nothing burgers that literally don't care who they date? Like, am I the only one that got that feeling?
No, completely agree.
Like, they've no personality.
There's
I know
no
nothing about them.
We don't know their hobbies. We know where they're from and what they work in, and that's about it.
They really needed like a video of their like hometown and like where they live and like their friends and family and just like get me more invested in these people.
Okay, but they did have a little bit of the backstory with like their family and everything. It was just very quick. Like they didn't go in depth, which I personally appreciate a little bit more. Like you don't need to spend that much time on it because you're just going to forget it after this episode.
I don't know. I need to be invested though. Like,
yeah, you clearly were already checked out during these things.
Oh yeah, I was on Reddit the whole time.
They just can't do the hometown friends family videos right now, right? Like that's kind of the reality.
Yeah, I'm sure they have them. So I mean, I don't know.
Wait, you're sure what?
I'm sure they have those videos.
No, I don't think they do. I think
you don't think so.
I don't think they wanted like they probably had like a bubble. Everyone got tested. And that's how they filmed this show. So I don't think they did any of the, large amount of risk situation.
Whoa. We're not talking about production schedule yet. But
we might have to briefly talk about production schedule.
I think it was filmed last winter.
I agree. Pre-COVID.
This is a pre-COVID show.
Because they have to take them home for Christmas and then make the decision by New Year's. That's either it's lying about the timeline or it's 2019.
Or they're in the Southern Hemisphere in the summer.
They're in Austria. We already went over this.
Damn it.
Hold on.
But when they come home to see their parents, like Faith is taking him to Seattle. Like that's where we're gonna get Seattle at some point in this episode in this season.
Sure, but it's Seattle in the summer.
I need a quick clarification. Does James think Christmas happens 6 months off in the Southern Hemisphere?
No. All I was saying is they shot with HBO Max, and I'm saying they could have filmed this in our, in the Southern Hemisphere. There's 2 times a year where they could have possibly filmed it. That was all I was trying to say. I was trying to make a whole big stink about it.
That's fair.
Yeah, if you try to do in the Southern Hemisphere, you just knock everybody out, make them forget what time period it is. Oh, look at that. It's Christmas time.
Well, they could just pretend. I mean, anyway, we saw the next time on that they go to hometowns. So, not last Christmas. Is it that? I think that's pretty clear. Anyway, let's get into this mansion a little bit. So they have this like as soon as they walk in, they go into this giant dollhouse in like the entryway, and they have some sort of quote unquote tree mail that is the advent calendar. They call the advent calendar or something that has like that tells them
you got it right.
What the date is.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's not only a mansion; it is a castle.
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 Did they call it a castle or a mansion? I forget.
Oh, they were very intentional to call it a castle.
Okay, but it looked like a mansion. It didn't look like a castle, like a classical castle look.
It looked pretty castle-y to me. I don't know.
Like it was a nice castle. It wasn't like in a battle.
It didn't have a spire, it wasn't like Cinderella's castle.
No, I think castle. I think medieval with the like stone walls and the spires and the that didn't have any of this. It just looked like a mansion, but a castle it is. Castle. And the first advent calendar said that date 1 was the dinner date, where they sit down to this table and they get served by quote unquote waiters. 3 waiters, 1 per person, which is a little odd. And then they do a reveal where the waiters are the dates, which we alluded to earlier. And there was some weird interaction with Garrett. Garrett was like, "Ooh, those people are too attractive to be waiters. How dare waiters be attractive? They must be our dates."
He didn't say all of that.
He said that after the reveal, which is just something you say to butter up the person who's now your date. Like,
I don't know. That can backfire real easily. It's like, yeah, I don't really think of them as like on the same level. That's not a great thing to say, in my opinion.
So the dates
you guys are sensitive.
we've got for Chad, we've got Skylar from Maryland. She's a person.
She has blonde hair. It is another attractive person.
Yeah. We've got Kevin from Las Vegas for Faith. He was that super tall person that is just like kind of rude from what I can tell.
Can I talk about Kevin for a bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, 2 things. So they're all sitting at the table and he does his first introduction in pure French, which I thought was very funny. And then everything else he did was not funny. However, he starts talking to Faith about how French is the language of love, but it's Quebecois French, which is not. I'm sorry, it's not.
It's very judgy of you, Max.
Man.
No, I mean, everybody knows this.
the Quebecois people don't know that, Chris. Don't know that, Max.
But so the reason why is he's from Quebec. Like, he lives in Vegas now, but he's from.
Yeah, Chris definitely dropped the lead on Kevin of how you need to understand Kevin.
Oh, sorry, I didn't write that down, so you didn't get to know.
And also, I think most important is his job is he is a Rolls-Royce salesman
in Vegas.
In Vegas.
He also said that he was a car. He'd be a Lamborghini, Max, extra large, something. I don't know.
Oh my God. You're so bad at car things, Chris.
I only wrote down Lamborghini, but
the best part of it is Kevin couldn't even finish the whole thing of the car. He's like, I'm a Lamborghini Huracan, La Gruga? I don't know. And it was like, what? This is how you've chosen to describe yourself, and you can't even say the name of the car that you've chosen?
Why didn't he just use like a Rolls Royce? I don't understand.
That was the real
the information,
right?
And like, you could have just been like, "I'm a Rolls Royce," like whatever. Phantom.
Like, I'm a Phantom.
That's the only one I know. I don't know what a Rolls Royce is.
I mean, Phantom's like the
right.
The one you said, you know.
Literally, okay. Brief thing. Their whole lineup is just think of words for ghosts. Ghost, that's one. Wraith, that's one.
Poltergeist?
What's a
poltergeist?
Mm.
Since we're on tangent, I have an earlier comment. Going back to the quick earlier tangent. Okay. We're discussing if it is a mansion or a castle. I kind of looked it up. It's actually a palace. They keep
castle. I get to see that.
But it is actually a palace, which is now made to a hotel. It is famous for being the grounds of this palace were used for Sound of Music, and that's why it's famous.
Oh, can it be both? Like, is there a definition? Like, how do they?
Yeah, there's a castle and a
palace in it. But this is a palace, which like it looks like a palace. Like I can see Chris's point of earlier, where like it's not a castle because it's not fortified. Like a castle has to have like some sort of protection. This does not.
Huh.
I mean, they might have been in the castle grounds. Who knows what the walls could have been?
Right, exactly. That's fair.
But yeah.
So is there going to be a Sound of Music related date then? Because this is there's a Sound of Music tie-in to do.
I hope so.
This seems like a real expensive show. Like to get like at least the majority of this hotel to like film in pre-COVID. Like COVID, this might be cheap, but like pre-COVID. Like
I don't
if you're
think
trying to
it's
make
the
it,
majority of the hotel by any means. I mean, you just get a nice big ballroom and you rent it out for a month.
And like
honestly, if you're
hundreds
trying
of
to,
rooms.
they're like in the lobby a lot, it seems. Maybe it's not the lobby, maybe it's
It's
just
a
like
couple of ballrooms which they've like done the sets in.
okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Anyway, the third person we meet is Corey for Garrett.
Garrett.
Yeah, he's also a nothing burger. I didn't write anything down.
The thing I will say about the intros to the new people is that they weren't as thorough or like didn't go into anything about these new people. It's just like, all right, here you go. Here's new dates. Have at it. Which maybe they'll do later, but it's just
Wait,
you can't
are
get
talking
invested in these
People
people.
7, 8, 9. Is that what you're talking about? Like,
No. This is 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, I
7,
think
8,
they're
9
like
we'll get to.
they had like
Did I lose internet? No, just no one's talking.
good,
No, you're back.
I from these group of people, it seemed like 2 people liked the other 2, and no one liked Kevin because Kevin, I don't know, was kind of lame. I don't know.
But Chad just likes everyone. Like, James has kind of said this already. Like, Chad just likes everyone. That's kind of the
That's
deal.
We
no,
definitely
a
saw
lot of people like Chad.
No. Yes.
Also
Okay,
true.
both are right. Both are right.
Both are right. That's correct.
Like, I feel like Kevin is trying to be the Chad, but Kevin sucks as a person.
Oh
Chad
yeah.
believes he's Chad.
What we don't know anything about Kevin.
Kevin
You cannot
sucks.
say
Chris. Kevin sucks.
Kevin's definitely a dude.
He's
There's
the worst
that-
human on the show.
He's a douche.
Whoa, we can't get we're not at questions yet.
This is it, man. This show is intentional about it. He is on the show to be that guy.
Totally.
It's very clear.
Can we talk? I'm gonna take a step back here. I want to talk about how the leads are kind of into each other, like Garrett and Faith. Like that's
Chad,
not.
No. Chad.
No.
Chad and Faith.
Sorry.
There's
Chad-
gay.
This is what James is bringing up earlier.
It's
Okay.
not allowed. You can't allow that to happen.
Why not?
Like,
The narrator says it's against the rules, but like, what are they gonna do? Like,
They
arrest
even
them?
set it up because the dinner with the waiters were on the side. They had a bunch of time for the leads just talk to each other, and Chad and Faith were like flirting. And then when the waiters came in, there was already a bit of a connection.
Well, they were flirting like the day before.
Or the whole. I think that was all one day.
Yeah, it was like an hour before.
Oh, I
Back-
thought what happened was these people arrive one day, and then next morning they wake up and they do the first advent calendar thing, and then that night's the date. Like they just like arrive when they get set up so that they're good.
No, I think it was all they came in the morning and then they had that first date dinner date.
Got it. Yeah, that seems fair.
They made it seem like one day, but
Who knows? Who
We're into the
knows?
production schedule. Let's go.
It can't be avoided.
Let's talk about the next day. They have like a whole day date. So like from dinner to the next dinner is they're hanging out with these dates.
yeah,
And Faith seems a little
There's nothing else
perturbed.
to do. Like, what else are you gonna do? You can hang out with someone or not. So you do that.
I wish
Well,
Faith didn't.
Faith is the only one that was like, I don't like Kevin. Can we get somebody else in here?
So who banged on that first overnight thing? Like obviously Faith and Kevin did not. The other two, what are we thinking?
I think only Garrett and Corey.
Corey, that's right.
Corey.
you
Yeah.
think they banged?
It definitely looked like it. They like
Maybe.
they
Yeah.
basically show them just going into the bedroom and fade out the camera. I'm like, okay, well, that's what the show's implying.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. I kind of zoned out. But
Yeah, I
Maybe only-
definitely must have been looking at my phone when that happened.
We'll have to get the
Uh,
Reddit report later, Chris.
the what's his name? Chad. I mean, I feel like Chad could have. But he tries to make it play like he's for a long-term relationship. So like, I
Okay.
don't know. It doesn't seem like he would have.
But Chad's got that great pickup line. Hey, let me kiss you.
Yeah. That's not a pickup line. That's just like a line.
I mean, it worked for him.
It always works, Chris. It worked every time for him in the show. He's batting 1,000.
Here's the thing. I feel like Chad is doing the right stuff for a dating show. He's jumping around and like actually like trying to meet people and form connections. What everybody else is just trying to do is like form that like one permanent connection immediately. And he's also bad at like doing these transitions between people. So
he also do anything badly. Like he did the transition just fine. It's just the situation makes it so that there's drama. Like that's kind of the intention. Like that's like how The Bachelor works, right?
Yeah.
Like there's just the situation forces conflict.
Well, on that note, let's talk about the second date we got here, which is the masquerade ball. So everyone wears masquerade, blah, blah, blah. 3 new people come in. Let's see. Who do we have?
All first 6 people are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, all first 6 people are there. So it's kind of awkward. So we got Steven, the investment banker for Garrett.
Steven's not great either.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, I didn't understand why Garrett liked him. I was like, he seems like the most pompous ass person.
Some people like that.
It was confusing, especially to the prior guy who seemed much more down to earth, and he clicked with him. To see Steven come in and for Garrett to click with him also was caused a little bit of dissonance.
On that note, it seemed like. So another thing that I've noticed is like all these people are from all over the country. So like Steven and Garrett were both from New York City. So I could immediately see like, oh, he's from New York. So like this could actually work out versus the other guy that lives in Las Vegas. Like, how's that? Like, that's just a lot harder to get to work. So I could see why you'd probably might try, but like I can't.
Yeah, but you know, the whole point of the show is to find the one. And so like if they're the one, guess what? Somebody's moving.
Well, sure. I mean, I guess. I don't know.
And they're all
it's just easier if they're in the same
20s.
city. That's all.
Yeah, of course.
Easier to find love or easier to become a social media influencer? Which one's easier?
Because it doesn't matter, because they're all Leos. They're all great.
All Leos.
Garrett, Steven, and the other guy, Corey, were all Leos. And they thought it was amazing. And
I missed that one.
It happened.
That made the notes. That one made the notes. So
They were very excited about having the same, similar birthdays.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why that's a topic of conversation people bring up. But
I mean, before that came up, they were already talking about a throuple. So, they had a lot of varied conversations.
We weren't talking about a throuple. Steven just rolled in asking if it's a throuple.
Yeah, that's right.
that was his pickup line.
Is this a throuple?
I mean, it's a strong start. Like, to his credit.
Do you think Chad should try that one, or should Chad just stick with his current move?
Chad
has enough problems.
Just wait for it.
Obviously,
What about Kevin? Did Kevin try that one?
Kevin's going to steal that line immediately.
Kevin's not making it to episode 3.
Does anybody get booted off this show?
No.
I hope so.
Oh.
We
The
barely
show
got through
description
day
says
2.
there's eliminations, but we didn't see any eliminations, which is, we always have challenges when we watch shows with eliminations. They don't show us any in the first episode.
It's terrible. Next person we meet is Anthony for Faith. And they do some sort of hot tub date, which,
Is that hot tub date? Like, is that like, so I was a little confused. So they show them in the hot tub. So at some point they're at the masquerade ball. And then people are like, okay, I got to go talk to this other person. I'll be back in a little bit. And then they just cut to them in the hot tub. Does she just
exactly.
leave her first date and then go change? Like, I thought they were just going to a different room, having a 20-minute conversation and coming back. And then they just go to the hot tub.
Well, Faith ditched Kevin hard. Like, Kevin's done for sure.
Faith was so ready to be with talking to anyone who's not Kevin. She's like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, you, great, let's get out of here.
Hey, you're not Kevin? Let's go to the hot tub.
Yeah, but it did seem odd. Just like they really threw it in the wrench. Like, it would have been cool to see, like, hey, Faith has a choice. Does she want to like escalate it a little bit and go to the hot tub, or like keep it chill and stay on the couch? Like they could have guided us more instead of just like
Hot tub.
ooh, hot tub.
I mean, it was very clear she wanted the hell out of Kevin.
Do they bang? That's the question for you, Vabov.
Which one?
Faith.
Kevin and
Faith and
Skylar?
Anthony. Faith and Anthony.
Are you asking did or will?
Yeah.
I don't care.
In the current episode, they did not even kiss, right?
You don't know what happened in that hot tub.
They would have shown it.
It was
I know, but
cameras.
you're asking me to tell you what I think happened, and I'm telling you.
Okay, all right. The last date we have is Angel for Chad. She's a recruiter. That's all I've
He's
written.
recruiting Chad to go home with her.
This
No,
one,
go to his home.
so all three of them like kind of seemed like they had to go do like kind of a one-on-one. Very unclear.
I don't think they had to. I think Chad did it, and then other people are like, "Oh, I can do this too."
That's fair. But what's her
Chad
name
was making moves. Like,
what's her name was
Also
really
before
upset. Skylar, really upset.
yeah. Well,
Should not.
so she also got ditched a little earlier, like after the group date, when Faith was like, "Hey, Chad, can we go have a chat?" And then they had a little chat and kissed. So now they're like, this is like girl number 3 who he has kissed, and then the host is just like, I couldn't really tell who Chad was when he wasn't kissing someone.
It's true.
Yeah, Chad is like, he seems very, I don't want to say two sides, but like, he seems so sincere when he's with people, and then just like flip the script, he's now kissing everyone. And it's like, can you be that sincere with everybody?
He's got to make sure they're good kissers. Noah, come on.
Chad's on The Bachelor, right? That's the reality. And you know, like if he was truly on The Bachelor, we wouldn't ask such questions because it would just be a given that this is part of the deal.
Yeah.
Right? He believes this is truly part of the deal.
I think the only reason we think it's not part of the deal is because of how Skylar is reacting to this whole situation.
But like people on The Bachelor react like that.
Oh yeah.
They definitely get
I
jealous.
wouldn't know.
And so, and it's not just Skylar. Corey also, we saw a clip of Corey also being very upset about Garrett spending time with Steven.
Totally.
And so it's not just Skylar. But like people, like it's just gonna be that way constantly. Some people are gonna be okay with it. Some people are not. Kevin probably just doesn't know how to cry. Otherwise, he would have too.
So as veterans of Bachelorette universe, Brian and Vaibov, how is this comparing?
I mean, it's kind of like that, but like they're just doing a slow people coming in, right? So that it's like it's never really gonna like the opening night of Bachelor is just nuts because there's so many people. Everyone's trying to steal the person from the other person, and everyone's on a level playing field because they haven't met the person before, and so that and like I've read like it'd be usually that like by the time the first night ends, it's like past sunrise.
Yeah.
And they've all been drinking and stuff. So like that's not gonna happen, right? Because it's just gonna be slow. Like we'll just see. Like the elimination part is interesting. Because like, will there be like 20 people on the show at some point, or will there?
Definitely not.
There's going to be
It's
like,
going to be the exact thing we saw today, rinse, repeat.
well, there's going to be 12
9
dates,
people.
guys. 12 dates. It's called the 12 dates of Christmas. So
The other note that I had about this is it kind of seems similar to Are You the One? And I kind of was hoping that like everybody would be in the mix like for one another versus just like setting up people, like setting up explicit dates.
I mean,
So-
I think that's gonna be the twist.
I
That
don't,
would be awesome.
I think
I don't
you can
think
go
so.
after
Ain't no way.
definitely yes way.
I don't think so.
It's fair game.
Well, like
Faith has
Chad
already
and-
proved it. Do what you want on the show. You want to ask somebody out, you do it.
Chad and Faith, that's already the situation. Like I
Yeah.
don't like.
Faith was a Bachelor move. Like people did it on Bachelor all the time.
Did what? They dated
Like-
the dudes on the show?
No, just like pulling somebody aside and like, hey, can I have a chat? And then everybody's getting interrupted for the dates, and it's just like a huge conflict.
That's like literally the first night, right? Like that's like the whole thing.
Yeah, but like in this show, I mean, I agree. In this show, you do have you have multiple genders, so they could be interacting with each other in a way that doesn't happen in The Bachelor or Bachelorette.
Right. Like they could just make it Bachelor in Paradise, or Are You the One?
I mean, it's kind of BIP, but like focus on 3 people. Who knows? Who knows when they get kicked off the show or want to, they could just leave and be with other people. That doesn't mean they're on the show anymore.
Right.
Bachelor and Palace.
Yes.
We
Don't
ready
give
for
them ideas.
questions? Questions, everyone?
Yes.
Like the episode kind of just ends after that date and people being upset. So like,
well, my understanding is so they released 3 episodes together, right? So that's why they didn't really need to have like a good ending of the episode.
yeah, well, I think they did.
Well, they need a good ending if they want to hook you for the next one. If you're not hooked, that's
Right.
No, but leave it on the cliffhanger is what they do. So many shows do it.
I don't know if it was that much of a cliffhanger. It just kind of ended.
Yeah.
I agree with Rob here. It just was like girls
I definitely
upset.
was like checking how much time was left, and I was like, "There's only 2 minutes left. Like, is something gonna happen?" And then like, "No, nothing's gonna happen."
They even put the next this season on in the beginning.
I didn't know if that was the thing to talk about in questions, but like, yeah, like this, a while ago we were super confused by this, and now it's just all the time of this season on is the start of the show.
It's terrible. Like I don't even know who these people are. I don't want to spend a minute, 2 minutes, like random events of like random people. It's just like, ugh.
We're seeing one of their dads. It's like, who is this?
It's a very old school move. Like for operas, like that's what they do. They tell you the whole story at the beginning, then they play it out. Or like in musicals, they go through all the pieces are going to play like in little bits.
So they did not do that for Cats.
Basically. Well, we got to talk about Cats. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Noah, have you been hanging out with Steven from the show? Going to operas?
I go to operas all the time. You know,
the thing I want to mention about this season on is they showed the houses of these parents, and these are all some ballin' looking houses. Like how wealthy are these families that these people came from, and was that a requirement to be on the show?
Could have been.
So during that part, I definitely asked the same question. I'm like, is everyone rich on the show? But then like but just for the leads, right? Not for the other people.
Yeah,
just for the leads. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because the one person definitely mentioned something that they didn't seem like they had a lot of money, but that was one of the contestants, not the leads, right?
Yeah. They could have pulled the cribs and rented those houses. You don't know.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's always a possibility, but like,
when it looks like that Home Alone house, you know.
What if it was the Home Alone house?
All right. You know, I mean, it is a Christmas reality show. Anyway, who's the worst human being? I think James has already come up with his answer.
Kevin, hands down. Next question.
Who?
I don't know.
It's not Kevin.
I don't think it's Kevin. It's
Who is it?
the banker. What's his name?
Oh, Steven?
Steven, yeah. He's
But you're beef with Steven, yo.
They're both bad.
Kevin is way worse.
They're both pretty bad. We just haven't seen enough of Steven to really say that yet. I feel like Kevin, there was a little more airtime.
I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to say I don't know because I don't know anyone in this show.
Kevin says some pretty inappropriate stuff. I think it's Kevin, hands down.
Okay. I'm just going to abstain. You guys can say whoever.
Definitely Kevin. Like, without
it's Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin McAllister.
Do we have any? Is there any worth considering Chad and how he like is just telling every lady that he's all in on them?
He knows what show he's in. He's not.
He knows what show he's in. So yeah, does that make him a bad person or is that?
Yeah, I think like that's the agreement everyone signed on to.
Okay.
Yep.
I think it's a fair question. Like you raise it in a good way, which I think that's this part of the story of the show. But like in the end, like it's just part of the show and it seems fine.
Okay, just checking.
Like if you didn't want that, don't show up for the show. Like it seems good.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth really talking about the host again, but is this an upgrade, apex, or downgrade for the host?
Who's the host? I don't. I mean, like I couldn't tell you.
Downgrade, maybe.
You never see the person, so like it's just a narrator, really.
It's.
I think she's on some other HBO Max show that's relatively well rated. So downgrade.
So she's gonna be in Wonder Woman 1984. So I think she's on the upswing, but this is not the apex. But I don't know if this is the part of the upgrade.
If she's a real actor, she's acting in things. This is a downgrade. Like to be some no face narrator, that's a downgrade.
Random articles on the internet are just confusing with other people. That doesn't sound great.
This is a downgrade.
Yeah, okay. I think that's it. The fact that there is an article on the internet that is totally confusing her with other random disembodied voices on Netflix shows, is a downgrade.
Side question: how much do you think she's getting paid just to read these corny one-liners?
Too
Like
much.
that's a day in the recording room, and
I mean,
That
she's
was
gonna watch all
a
8.
Wonder Woman deal. They're like, hey, like we're gonna have you come in for Wonder Woman. You also gotta do this on the side.
That'd be such a
fair point.
gimmick in a contract. Like, hey, we're gonna have you in this movie for like a couple of scenes, but like on the side, you gotta like go like record all these lines.
Well, it could be like a favor, you know. Hey, you know, I'll do this favor for you as long as you put me in this movie. You know.
You watch Netflix stuff and the same people show up again and again and again, right?
Yeah.
Especially when I watch like Indian stuff on Netflix, the same like Indian movies. Oh, there's like 3 Indian actors that like I feel like make all the Netflix movies. Like it just doesn't. It's never ending. And so
There was
like
that NASCAR guy that was in The Floor Is Lava, and like
Right.
some other show that we watched.
And so just like I feel like it's kind of like that situation, right? You have a good relationship, then you just keep doing it.
What's the most baffling or cringeworthy moment? I don't know if I have one off the top of my head.
Well, cringeworthy, it's Kevin saying if he can kiss whoever he wants. Or
Yeah.
he says whatever he wants, really.
I'm doubling down. It was Kevin on the couch trying to make moves on Faith, and Faith was trying to just get out of there. It's cringing.
Ooh. What about on the boat where she had nowhere to go? She's like, and he's just like, I'm trying to figure out how I can kiss you right now.
The implication, Brian.
Yeah. There were so many bad moments.
On that note, James, leading into the favorite minor minutia, I love they were wearing PJs on that couch, and her PJs had her midriff exposed. I was like, what kind of PJs? Where do you even buy that?
Dude, it's LA girl PJs. 100%.
They were so done up too, like full blown makeup, hair did. These people were looking so good, and I've never seen people look so good in PJs.
Yeah,
They were so freshly crisp too, like it was unbelievable. They looked stunning in these PJs, except it was Kevin, who's a terrible human.
But he looks good.
It's true.
I don't know.
Yeah,
He kind of
Kevin looks fine.
zoned out. His just facial expressions kind of really tone it down for me. Like it just like he kind of just looks like he's just not there fully.
maybe he's just not that into Faith, or he's just like getting a bad vibe, and he doesn't really want to be there. Like,
Did we talk about how Kevin seemed to have more of an accent when he's talking to Faith than in his confessionals?
no,
Yeah.
we didn't talk about that.
His like off and on Quebecois like English, and then his like Las Vegas English.
Las Vegas English. What's that?
It's not good.
Quebecois.
All right, let's get into some drinking rules. I think.
So, one thing I was shocked, they made drinking rules for us in the show.
That's true.
Well, I don't remember.
I thought of you when that happened, Chris.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Chris must be so excited by this.
Chris, were you watching the show?
Not really, to be honest.
Well, every time Chad kisses a girl, drink
That
up.
was going to be my drinking rule, so we're on.
That was from
we're on
the
same
show.
page. Well, I was just going to say, if anyone kisses anyone, take a couple drinks. Brian, what do you got?
Christmas pun. Take a drink.
Oh, that's a good one.
Good one.
James, you got a drinking rule?
I can't think of a good one, so I'm just gonna pick on Kevin some more. So every time Kevin comes on screen, just go get a new drink because it'll be very useful your time.
What do you do with your old drink?
You drink it.
That's a Max rule. Max, you have a drinking rule?
Every time you look at your phone, take a drink.
Oh, that's so good.
That should just be one of our universal drinking rules.
Okay, I do like that rule, especially since like it could also relate to like the Bachelor and everything, where there's like, oh, there's a little downtime. Yeah, let me just look at my phone.
These pods are gonna go totally off the rails. Chris is like, he's gonna be unhostable. Like, how's he gonna run the show?
Rob, what about you?
I had one and I lost it. Oh yeah, just every time they introduce new people into the show, you gotta take a drink, which is not that exciting, but I think it's a good one. Yeah.
Or kick somebody off.
Very reasonable.
Or kick someone off, yeah, when they kick people off, which we didn't see.
Noah, you got one?
No, like, because I really like they actually made a drinking rule for us, so I'm gonna respect the show.
Yeah, but you only would have 3 drinks. That's 50 minutes of your time.
Depends on what kind of drink. Like the other one I am thinking about is with the advent calendar, and you have to do a stiff drink, right? Because they have to do what?
Do like a shot.
Yeah, you can do a shot, but there's an advent calendar has 24 or 25 doors. There's ostensibly 12 shows.
There's 8 episodes.
Oh, it's 8. Okay. So they're opening up a bunch of doors every show.
2 doors.
8 episodes, 24, maybe 3.
I don't think they're actually going to do 20. I don't think it's a real advent calendar, Noah. I'm sorry to break this to you.
I think it's 12 dates of Christmas. 12 dates.
There's 12 dates of Christmas. So I think there's going to be 12 doors.
And I think all those will happen in the first 6 episodes, and the last 2 will be the home stuff.
2 dates per episode, and the last 2 are about the home thing. Totally 100%. I thought of another drinking rule. You should, and this is one of like the take the shot, finish your drink kind of ones, because it doesn't happen that often in the show. But take a shot every time Garrett busts out a new wild jacket.
Ooh, yes.
I have one that I think will be more throughout the show. Is like if there's just 2 people, they're like on some sort of like one-on-one kind of date. Take a drink, you know.
I was gonna say something sort of related. Every time on the really in future episodes, I think it'll happen even more. Every time someone is crying on screen because they didn't get the attention they wanted, take a shot. Already happened twice this episode.
That's good. It's a good one.
I got one more. Every time someone shows off their very in shape body, you take a drink.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Let's get to one of our favorite questions. What's the production schedule? So we already talked a little bit about this, where we think it's last winter around Christmas, or is it like they faked Christmas with their family?
No,
well,
if before Christmas.
If the Christmas part is with the family, then this has to be like, this is November, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, if it's not earlier, you know?
Right.
Well, I mean, like, there's only 12 dates, so it's like Christmas is one of those dates, right? So is that the last date? Or the second to last date?
Or is it 12 dates and then you go for Christmas?
It's 12 dates to Christmas, I think. Yeah.
Well, the title was of, which doesn't help us at all here.
I think Christmas is date 11 and New Year's Eve is date 12.
No, but that's past Christmas.
Well, the description said it was New Year's Eve.
No, the show was 12 Dates of Christmas.
Yeah, because the marketing department decided that's what the name is.
The whole trip, like once you're taking one person home, that whole trip can only be considered one date. Now you're not multiple dating in that. If you're spending the whole time with them, they're coming to your house. You can't ditch them then.
Yeah, sure. That's the idea of the thing. Is are you still going to be together through that week?
So if we're assuming there's 12 dates in Austria, were they in Austria for 12 days? Just doing one a day? Are they trying to get 2 dates in a day? What do we think?
I think it'd be one date a day. Like we already saw kind of like 2 dates, and they were both like started at dinner time.
Quick note: in Austria, where this is, right, the snow usually happens starting November, so it couldn't have been earlier than that last year.
There was a lot of snow. So, like, it seemed full-on winter.
Would they have actually filmed this when there's no snow and made them put on winter coats and say, you got to say you're going out in the snow? And then they did the helicopter shot 3 months later when there was snow.
But there was a snowball fight.
Yeah.
There was. They were in the snow. But it could have been staged. I don't know.
I mean,
it was not staged.
It won't be staged, but like, I just don't think they would like bother.
Okay.
All right, that's enough of that. What inspired the show? Obviously, we got The Bachelor.
Are you the
one? What about the movie with the same name?
What's the plot of that movie?
I've never seen the movie.
I have no clue, but like every time I Google this show, the movie comes up and it's really annoying.
Well, I think we need the plot of that movie to determine if it inspired it or not.
VJ, read us the plot of the movie, and we can.
What about the song? Did the song inspire the show?
Well, I think so, because it's like the 12 days of Christmas, like 12 days, like that's pretty clear inspiration.
So quick check. on the production schedule, I've been going into the corner, trying to go find out what's up. I did find the showrunner on LinkedIn, and I can message her. So
get her on the pod.
Yeah, I'll see if we can get some details. Fun fact: she's the same showrunner who did Love Is Blind on Netflix.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh.
What about the narrator though?
I didn't get to that part of the corner.
That's an interesting question, because was Love Is Blind filmed before or after this?
I see an article here. I need to dip in. In June, they say that they just wrapped up production of 12 Dates of Christmas. June 2020. Which the timeline becomes really insane to think about. And so I have a feeling like just wrapped up is going to be very forgiving.
I just don't like. That's why I was thinking. So like, so this is HBO Max show, right? Like, they just weren't that far ahead last year. Like, it just doesn't seem like they had their shit together. Like HBO Max, the whole thing just seems so much like just hacked together.
I mean, this could have been filmed in like March. Like, I'm sure there's still snow in Austria in March.
Right. But then COVID times, right? Like, then we're saying that this was filmed in COVID times. It really couldn't have been filmed in March. Like, March, it would have been shut down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right. If it was being filmed in March, it would have been like, okay, everyone's going home. We'll come back later and see what the deal is.
Maybe that's what happens.
Right.
But then that would ruin the 12 Dates of Christmas. So
for sure. The 12 Dates of Christmas, the movie, by the way, nothing to do with this. It's sort of Groundhog Day like.
Okay. All right.
Quick ask. Does someone else want to message this producer?
No.
Yeah. Like,
I'll answer for everyone.
Like,
You're the internet corner. What are you trying to, like, you're the corner, man. Like, you
yeah, I know. Well, usually I like to tweet at them, you know, because like LinkedIn's a little more like personal.
Yeah.
But
it's
her
really
Twitter,
not personal. It's all supposed to be professional. It's like the least personal thing.
but this isn't a professional message. This is about the production schedule.
It's definitely a professional message. You are asking, as part of your podcast, you're asking about their profession. Totally professional. Be like, hey, I'm a representative from Who Put This On, and we would like to know this information. You can find us at Who Put This On.
Yeah.
Gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you gotta sit, name drop, like it's like, I'm Who Put This On, you know, I work with Chris Lorenz, and you know, you just the Chris Lorenz. That's right.
I just think like that seems totally professional. You're asking about their work. You're not asking about their personal life at all.
So let me take a step back. I usually like to reach out to people on Twitter, right? Because Twitter is much more open and like people are always adding each other, right? But her tweets are protected. So clearly she's trying to lock shit down. That's why I'm a bit more tentative on just like cold.
You're just asking a question
on LinkedIn.
You're not trying to critique or make fun of her shows or anything.
Like, we're not.
That's why her Twitter's private.
Wait, put a PS. Don't listen to our podcast on this.
Funny thing too, she also did Married at First Sight and Spouse House.
Whoa.
Spouse House. Put it on the
What
line.
is Spouse House?
It's in the queue. Put it in.
All right, let's move on. Let's get to our final question, which is ratings. If this is your first time listening, we do a stack ranking system where we do top, middle, bottom, third based on compared to other reality shows. So who wants to start? Max, do you want to start us off?
I don't, because I didn't listen to what you were saying because I was looking up what Spouse House was.
Just give me your rating.
Oh, definitely bottom of the third, or bottom third, middle of the bottom. This format just doesn't work for me at all. You can't have a dating show with just like 3 core members. There's not enough going on, and they're not interesting enough.
Rob, what do you got for me?
I agree. I guess go in the bottom third. I'm interested if the show gets better once the eliminations start and once like more things are happening. But like the dating show gimmick kind of isn't good enough. Like it's like, oh, it's Christmas, but like it doesn't really influence what's going on enough. That I don't think there's enough really there to really be super interesting.
James, what do you got?
Flipping it. I think you guys are absolutely wrong. I think this is a top third show. This is some of the best production we have seen. I think that it's gorgeous to look at. The people are somewhat interesting. I gotta give them a lot of credit for like intros, doing it in a better way. I didn't hate like that first intro bit. I did find myself zoning out from time to time, so I will put it in the bottom of the top third there.
All right, Noah, what do you got for me?
Yeah, this is a middle show, bottom of the middle. It's not bottom of the bottom. It would be bottom of the bottom if they had more attractive people on the show. But because like they're still very attractive, just not like so attractive where it's just angry watching them. And it's
I'm confused.
So the reduction in their attractiveness makes this show better for you? Am I understanding this correctly?
That's exactly right. I don't like watching people that are too good looking having problems. Like that's just not fun to watch.
Okay.
I think that's part of the appeal of the show is like these people are good looking, but they're not like supermodels. Like I feel bad even saying that because I'm not really trying to judge them on that way. Like they just felt more like real people that like they were very good looking people. But I didn't get like supermodel vibe, like unapproachable, like stereotypical.
They don't seem pretentious.
Exactly.
It's not even that. It's like there's some people that are just like so good looking. You're like, you're not real enough. Like you're not relatable. And like these people are very good looking, but they're not so good looking where they can't be relatable.
This is why Noah hates Chris.
Yeah,
definitely.
This is just too good looking and as such not relatable.
Totally.
Definitely. Brian, what do you got for me?
I'm doing bottom of the top. I mean, I liked The Bachelor, and I thought that like this poked fun at some of the stuff that The Bachelor really takes a little too seriously.
Vaibhav, what do you got?
Bottom of the top. I'd been thinking bottom of the top like the whole podcast. I'd been thinking about bottom of the top, right? And then a couple of you start off with like just the bottom third questions. I'm like, maybe I need to downgrade it so I just get less hated on the show. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna say it. And then James comes to my save here, and then obviously Brian doubles down on this. Bottom of the top for sure. There's a couple of things they could do to really make it go, but like the show's interesting, it's good. The comment Brian makes is totally correct. Like you watch some Bachelor, then making fun of that. Like it's very self-aware. That's great. It seems like funny in that way.
BJ, also never second guess your ratings. Be true to yourself.
You gotta go with yourself. Can't.
I did.
We should do it at the beginning. You should have to write it down. I'm gonna go with bottom third. I think the show is incredibly boring. The show could be 5-minute Quibi. This would be a nice Quibi show, I think. Because
rest in peace.
Nothing.
Quibi doesn't exist anymore, Chris. It's dead to us.
I know, but
is
like
that a new insult. Like this is a Quibi show, guys.
It could be a Quibi.
It could be
like nothing happens. Just
should we rename bottom third as just that's a Quibi? I put it. It's a Quibi.
It's the Quibi.
I like it. I'm into it.
Like the middle third should definitely be Netflix, right? There's just a lot of it. It's out there. It's available.
Oh, Netflix had some good shows. Like I like that.
But like, show. It's like they just have, it's like a bell curve, right? So like,
you can't give the stack rankings names, guys. They're just the stack rankings.
We can give them names, and now we might have to. That you try to shut it down.
Personally, every episode you keep calling it stack ranking, and it's not truly stack ranking. It's more percentile ranking because like we don't really actually stack rank them. Like
we're supposed to
below this show or below this show,
but they're supposed to be put in buckets.
We stack rank at the end.
Yeah, at the end of the season, we do our as close as possible stack ranking.
Yes, but like the ratings we gave right now, that's not a stack rank because we did stack it.
No, it's just a rating.
That's what we're calling it. That's the Who Put This On stack ranking system.
Is that a thing we call it? I don't think we've ever called it the stack ranking system.
Chris calls it the stack ranking.
Chris calls it stack ranking every episode. And today I was like, I gotta say something. I have to.
I mean, you can fight back at me. I don't care. You just gotta give me what it really is, and then we'll call it that.
I think it's legitimately you can call it a stack ranking because we're not saying these shows are overall good or overall bad. You're just like they're good or bad compared to other reality shows. You can be like
relative ranking.
Yeah, it's relative ranking. That's like
Right.
people say stack rank to mean that like you're stacking them against the other ones.
Right.
Brought to you
Anyway,
by Kingsford.
before we move on to the updates, I do want to say that one thing I do like about the show, which you mentioned, The Bachelor, is like The Bachelor, they're trying to get engaged and like married, and like this is just them going home to their parents, which is like slightly bigger deal, but very reasonable thing to do with somebody you just met kind of in the last couple of weeks.
The one thing I did think though, it does seem like a really big deal for Garrett, right? Like he has never taken, like he only came out to his parents like it seemed like 5 years ago. They've never met a boyfriend, right? So it does seem kind of a really big deal for him.
Yeah, I'm definitely rooting for Garrett the most.
Right. And,
I mean, there's varying levels of like, you know, how serious that is, but it's not like they're like tying their lives together forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Serious.
And I hope it goes well for him. But like, I was definitely concerned when he was like talking to Corey and he's like talking about how like his family's from the South. He just came out and I'm like, and now you're going to take a black boyfriend home. That's not going to go well for you.
Oh yeah, no, we had the same conversation here. We're like, wait, not only are you coming out now, it's like, oh boy, good luck. Yeah, but I'm definitely rooting for him the most. I'm also shocked. He's a very good looking guy with a good job. It's like, bro,
Right.
Man.
All right, let's get to the shout outs. Rob, why don't you give us the shout out? You know, the one we're looking for.
Last week, we said goodbye to the broccoli on The Masked Singer.
The broccoli.
The broccoli.
I want to know who decided the broccoli was going to be a costume.
What was their hints?
Like the broccoli, like hints related to broccoli or just hints in general?
Just the hints related to broccoli.
There were no hints related to broccoli. They just were in a broccoli costume. That was it.
Lame.
Right. And the broccoli turned out to be Paul Anka, who is a older.
Oh, Anka?
Yeah. Do you actually know who that is, Max? Or you
No, not a clue.
So here's the thing about Paul Anka. He's very famous in Canada, and Robin Thicke successfully guessed Paul Anka because he picked up on some Canada clues in the package and figured out it was Paul Anka.
Why is he popular in Canada? Can we?
Like he's from Canada. He's Canadian.
Like, what does he do?
Is he an actor? Or?
He's a singer. He was big friends with Frank Sinatra. He co-wrote one of Frank Sinatra's most famous songs. So think of Canadian Frank Sinatra. That's Paul Anka.
Yeah, he's pretty famous. Like not to us, but like our parents' generation, they definitely know it.
Got it.
All right. I got a shout out this week. I watched, or at least partially watched, Cats. So our sister podcast, How Did This Get Made, did Cats, and I was like, sure, it's on HBO Max. I don't have to pay for it. Let's pop it on. And I wanted to, just like, my eyes were so disgusted. It was so bad. It was the worst thing I've ever watched. It was just like random songs about random cats, and then they would leave and a new cat would come in and a new song. There was no third line, and these people looked ludicrous. They were wearing clothes, they weren't wearing clothes. There was weird fur. It was kind of sexual, but they didn't have genitals. It was just fucking all over the place. Don't watch it.
What do you need the butthole cut?
It's terrible.
Brian beat me to it.
It still blows my mind because they have Idris Elba, Taylor Swift, Ian McKellen. Like, how?
Yeah, big time, for sure.
So, Chris, I have some questions.
Sure.
So you said you put this on because it was on HBO Max and it was free. Like, there's a lot of stuff in HBO Max.
No.
Why?
I put it on because How Did This Get Made did a podcast on cats.
Did you listen to that podcast?
Yeah, I did.
Did they tell you to watch it?
No.
Did you put the movie on first or listen to the podcast first?
I mean, ideally what you want to do is you want to watch you can watch like 15 minutes of it and then turn it off, and then you could listen to the podcast.
Like, my question is, should someone listening to this podcast or who you're talking about cats say, oh, Chris Lorenz watched Cats, I should try to watch Cats, since you watched it because a podcast talked about it?
I mean, I hope people watch the shows because we watch them and then listen to our podcast.
How high were you when you decided to watch Cats?
I was not high.
You were not high.
Got
Got
it.
it.
That's a lot high, I think.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to admit on a podcast.
So it's more of an anti shout out this week, but
I
that's
saw
where we're
like
at.
Chris had posted somewhere that he was watching Cats or something, and then I immediately texted Rob. I'm like, Rob, we gotta like, what is happening? Why is he doing this to himself?
Intervention.
I made it a half hour, so like, you know,
I'm
longer
glad
than I
you
should have.
felt okay just abandoning it at that point.
Yeah, I turned it off.
People would say sunk cost, I gotta stick it
It was a
through.
pretty long movie, right?
It's like a 2-hour movie. It's too long.
So this is a long time ago. My brother told me the story of someone he knows who saw the play Cats. And then he asked him, "What did you think of that play?" And he goes, "I didn't like it. It was just a bunch of stupid cats."
This is the longest running musical. Or actually, is it
it
still?
used to be.
I don't think it
No,
is anymore.
Final Phantom is.
Right.
Yeah, people love cats, like in general.
I don't
People-
get it.
There had to be some serious drug consumed by all the people watching Cats for this. Either that or everybody's just trying to play pranks on one another.
Nah, people liked it because it's like people moving around like cats on stage. It's like very graceful. It's like ballet.
But like, no one liked the movie. Just to be clear,
yeah,
no
no,
one liked it.
this is the show. Not
Right.
You mean the play, the musical on Broadway?
Yeah.
So Brian, here's my theory. Here's my theory for you, Brian. Is that before the internet, cat lovers didn't have a place to go and discuss how much they loved cats. So they went to this musical, and it's all about their like cats they love. It's
Chris,
like
when you say it like that, it sounds like a furry convention.
I mean, it's about like all these like different personalities of cats.
yeah, it's like, remember if you had a cat that was like a big fat cat, and then they had the song about the big fat cat, and then they're like, oh look, that's my cat, and then they love it.
Which came first, the play Cats or furries?
The cats, I think.
Okay.
Which came first, the play cats or the animal?
All right, VJ, you have a shout out this week?
No, I
You don't have to.
I didn't really watch anything. We watched a couple of Marvel movies, and that's about it.
Noah, you have a shout out this week?
Yeah, I got two. One's gonna tie in the last week pod. So one is Sugar Rush Christmas edition. We've been going hard in the paint on that. Fine enough show, you get the drill. And then the pack. Upset that I couldn't join the pack to do the pack, but I've been packing in the pack. And yeah, I am a fan of the show. I sent you guys my rating. I didn't have time to catch up on the pod, but top of the top for me. The show is really enjoyable. Like, they take the Amazing Race thing and they added the dogs. The dogs are super fun to watch. I really enjoy it, even though it's like at points very fake. And I really don't like how they don't give small dogs a chance. It's really a show meant for like bigger dogs. It's very enjoyable to watch.
We really needed you on the podcast last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to it over this weekend.
Rob, you had serious questions on this top of the top.
I think Max also had some serious questions on this top of the top.
Would you like to grill Noah on his top of the top, or are we going to move on?
Rob, feel free. Take it away.
No, what's wrong with you? That show is no good.
Noah, if they made a dogs movie, would you love it?
I mean, things that have dogs definitely become better.
At that Homeward Bound movie, it's pretty good, right?
Airbud.
Earbuds are there. Yeah.
No. VJ's asking, it's just like the movie Cats. There's no plot. Taylor Swift is weirdly dressed as a dog.
There's no
Does
buttholes.
Noah put it top of the top?
BJ, what are they going to sniff then?
We got to see what the outcome is. No, I really enjoy the pack. Like, it's fast paced. There's none of the MTV like let's look ahead and look backwards, wasting nonsense. The challenges always have a little twist in it. Like, it's constant action. There's not this like soap opera drama between it, you know, because it's all about the dog person relationship, which I kind of enjoy.
No, what did you think of the editing in the final challenge?
I don't
Remind me what the final challenge was.
They were on the beach and they were like had to do this like obstacle course.
Beach they were digging, and it was so obvious that the one person had showed up like 2 hours later than everyone else. Everyone else was done, and then they still did edit it to make it seem like it was a competitive race in the most horrible, trying to make it look close editing I've ever seen.
Yeah, so they do this a couple times in the show. I'm a couple episodes deep now, but it's very clear when like this is how I said like the small dogs, like they really made a production error on even bringing small dogs on the show. Like they can't compete in the challenges they're setting up, and so they do a lot of this crazy editing to your point of like, oh, look how close it is, and it's like the sun's not even out anymore. What are you talking about? You know, yeah, they really have to pull some strings, but I think that's gonna get better the more you go in. Or the dogs actually are better suited for each other.
Just gotta get those little dogs off the show. Just get them out of here. Stop
I mean, they probably are off the show.
It's great. They shouldn't have been.
Yeah, by now I'm a few in, and they definitely spoiler alert. Stop listening if you don't want to hear. The small dogs are first to go.
All right, Brian, you got a shout out this week?
Those challenges correctly, right? Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Brian, you got a shout out?
I don't have a shout out this week.
HBO Maxim, you got one?
Yeah. So two things. Now that all of you have HBO Max access, highly recommend Search Party that's on there. I also watched my first ever season of Survivor.
Oh yeah. Did you finish the whole thing?
Cagayan, brains versus beauty versus brawn.
Yeah. The
What's
you know what?
Season
Sorry,
28.
Oh yeah, that's like the only one I've seen.
Yeah. I didn't love it mostly because the winners' politics weren't that incredible. I don't know. I like Survivor's challenges. I don't like Survivor's eliminations. I think the show on MTV has better eliminations.
I like how like it's just like when it's like holding something up for an extended amount of time or doing something like that. I feel like people with grit can win more often than not.
People who can find immunity idols can win.
Yeah. The season you watched was bad for that. Not every season. The thing with Survivors, each season is pretty different. So like you watch that season and that person may win because they have a lot of immunity idols. The next season, the person could win because everyone's just infighting and at the end they're the only person around to vote for. Or they can win all the challenges. You know, they can win the last like 4 or 5 challenges.
The thing about the season that Max watched, I thought the person's politics were amazing, just not likable.
Yeah.
It really got the job done.
It got the job done. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but the fact that no, I'm not going to spoil anything. Never mind.
Okay. I we'll leave it at that. That's it for this week. You can tweet at Max Witek.
My Twitter handle is at HBO Max.
You can tweet at us, and we'll send it to Max. At Who Put This On?
LinkedIn. Can we put that in here?
You can find us on linkedin.com/whoputthison. You can find us on whoputthison.tv, which I believe our website is down, so maybe you can't find us there.
You can connect to us on our professional circle at linkedin.com. You can swipe right on us at tinder.com. You can live blog us at zenga.net.
Check out our MySpace. It's really hopping.
But really, our upcoming Kubi show, that's going to be the top of the top.
Where we cut this show down to 5 minutes. That's what we're going to do. All right.
We got to get one of them TikTok things.
Things.
All right. You can email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. and we'll see you guys next time.
Chris, when are we doing TikTok reviews?